I thought I'd give it a go just to see whether it would work.
It never does.
It never does. Are we there? Can we see everyone? Schmitty, are you with us, mate?
I am. Yeah, there we go.
Just to see
Who did that?
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, I think we're good to kick off. We seem to be live where we need to be live. Final checks. Yes, why? Excellent, beautiful. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. So have we got Alex there? Yep, we got Alex. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, or should I say, Jeagwich Agus Folcha. Scott Fitzsimons is Dom. Agos. We're here for another Whisky Roundtable on this day of days, on St. Patrick's Day, coming through on the 17th of March. It's been a big week in whisky. It's been a big day in Sydney whisky and consumption, basically, with the laws relaxed as of about 12:01 this morning. We can officially stand up when we're having a drink in venues, which is great. But now the challenge is, it's been so long, how do I keep standing when I'm drinking in a venue, because it has been way too long. We are going to go through tonight, drink some whiskey, have a bit of a chat, talk all things whiskey and Whisky Roundtable. And today we've got a very, very special guest with us. But before we get to them, we're going to welcome the panel. Alex Dahlenburg from Whisky Culture is tuning in with a brand new T-shirt. Thank you to the team at Corrowood Distilling. She's not wearing it tonight, but she definitely has it. Andy Milne has been kicked out of the office, so we're back onto Bondi Internet. And Matt Bailey is representing Diageo tonight with Team Lagavulin. But the young man himself, Australia's worst bagpipe player, but not Australia's worst distiller, arguably one of Australia's better distillers, without putting too much smoke up him, Ian Schmidt from the Tin Shed Iniquity label. Mates, welcome to the roundtable, and how are you?
Thank you. I'm, as normal, old, poor, sore, overworked, underpaid, undersexed, stressed, distressed, depressed, going blind, going bald, going deaf, and I forget things. I can't remember the rest. Yeah. Other than that, pretty good.
That's your opening line every single time I speak to you, Smitty.
Nothing changes. I'm getting older every day. It'll happen to you too if you're lucky.
As always, we're going to kick off this evening roundtable by going around the grounds to the panel, but also to anyone watching on the chat. To say, and the chat is having a bit of an error here, which is going to be interesting. But, ladies and gentlemen, what are we drinking in our glasses tonight? I'll kick us off.
Are we allowed to talk about what we're drinking?
Well, it depends on what you're drinking. We'll get to the sample that you might have. But I'm kicking off with something Irish for St. Paddy's. It's a 14-year-old single malt from the Boutique Whisky. I had about half of this sample left, so that's getting the. I know it is Northern Irish. I know I'm not meant to know where this is from, but it is Northern Irish. But as far as when it comes to whiskey, United Ireland is united when it comes to whiskey. So that's where I'm kicking off a beautiful little malty 14-year-old going around the grounds.
Happy St. Pat's Day.
Good on you. Good on you. Andy, what are you on?
Happy Dead Rabbit Day.
Dead Rabbit.
Oh, I've got my bunny.
I'm on prickly pine cones and buttery scones, which is a little something right next to Glenrothes Distillery. Anyway.
A little space side.
A little bit of space side.
A little space side. And then I'll be moving on to a very special dram, which I'm very excited about. It's delicious.
What's that? Well, tell me. I don't know what you're drinking.
A little present you sent up to us.
Oh, okay, that one. That's the Solaire. Yeah, okay. That's an interesting new release we haven't yet released. What was that? Yeah, the Solaire is a new thing. It's smoky. It's Shiraz barrels from the Barossa Valley, and it's set up as a Solaire. It's done in half-litre bottles. The retail price of about $90.
Oh, that's a good price.
To make it attractive to people to drink, and also the style of whiskey such that you can drink it with mixers and cocktails without having to spend a fortune to have a nice cocktail or a nice rum and coke. Sorry, a nice whiskey and dry or whatever you drink.
All right, so it's the Iniquity Peated Shiraz Solaire, and it's 43%, right?
Correct.
It's delicious. I sat down with my team today, and we were doing a bit of an induction, so I poured a little bit out to everyone, and a lot of very good, happy faces.
Well, I'm glad they liked that because we made the Solaire out of stuff that didn't make the grade for our other whiskies, our other releases, and by using some of the 17 years' experience we've collected, we've managed to make it taste a bit better, it seems. Certainly, if you like it, I'm impressed.
All right. Well, can I kick off some questions?
Yeah.
Go for it.
All right. Schmitty, how'd you get into distilling?
You really want to know?
Yeah.
Okay. It started about 18 or 19 years ago, and my mate Vic, who was leaning over the school fence with me one afternoon waiting to pick the kids up from school, said that, well, Vic is actually a chef by trade, and he said he had been delivering mail because he worked as a postie because it was family-friendly hours. He said he delivered some mail to a homebrew shop and they had a still for sale. He wanted to buy a still and make some vodka because Vic is actually son of a couple of Cossacks. And I said, don't bother, I've got a still at home. I inherited from my grandfather. Bring your brew around and we'll distill it at my place, which we subsequently did, and we had a lot of fun doing that over a few years in the kitchen and the shed out the back. And then one day I came home from my normal job, which was making flagpoles, and complained to the wife that my body was hurting and I was getting too old for this shit. And she said, well, stop whinging and do something more sedentary. And I said, like what? And she said, I don't know, make whiskey. And that's the only thing she reckons, even to this day, she's never had to tell me to do twice. So we started 17 years ago.
Did you drink whiskey before?
No. I had the occasional Glenfiddich and Dimple. That was about as far as I went. I was a rum drinker right through to the core. But when we got into this distilling game, I read more and more about whiskey, and then I started to go to a few events. And I went to an event which was a tasting of Aberlour whiskies. And the first whiskey up was a Chivas Regal. And I said to Vic, hey, get this in. This is good stuff, Chivas Regal. And you won't ever want to drink anything else again once you've drunk that. And we had the Chivas Regal and we agreed it was nice. Then they poured us an Aberlour 10. And we said, oh, we're never drinking that Chivas Regal shit again. This is far better. Then they poured us another big number I can't remember. And then we had an Aberlour Abuna. And I went and bought a couple of bottles there and then. And that was the start of my whiskey journey. Yeah.
I think that was a big turning point for me too, that whiskey.
The Abuna.
Yeah.
I think it was batch 2 or 3 I drank.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
I think I visited the distillery just as they were releasing that. I wasn't old enough. I remember that, but somehow managed to sneak in. It's not, Speyside in Scotland, you can just get away with things. But I vaguely remember, and Pano Ricard didn't hear this, but tasting that one in the distillery, I'm just thinking, yeah, I'm ready for whiskey. This is what it's all about.
And how old were you?
7. I was close to 18.
Okay. I heard 7.
I wasn't 7.
You don't look old enough to have been old enough to drink a boot when it was brought out.
Yeah.
Ian, do you mind me asking, in the early part
Any
of
more questions, or is that it?
Oh, you're going to get met plenty.
Yeah, that's all we got time for tonight. So next week. But I want to say a quick g'day to some people tuning in. To James Finnegan says, "G'day everyone, happy St. Paddy's Day." John Jarvis, friend of the stream, evening all. James is on a Scotch Malt Whisky Society. There's something about Enya, is the whiskey he's on. Bailey, could you give us a hint into what that might be? Something about Enya?
51 dot something. I can't remember the code, but it was a single cask Bushmills.
Beautiful. Oh, excellent. And Kurt Kirsten says, "G'day, everyone." Just for those playing at home, I've got a bit of an issue with the studio here, so I won't be able to see all your comments coming through as they come through. But I'm going to be keeping an eye on as much as I can. But definitely on the Whiskey Roundtable Facebook is where I'll have open for the most part. So questions come through to that one. But Bailey, I think you were about to jump in with a question there.
Yeah, just a quick one, Ian. I want to just delve into a bit more history of. I'm really fascinated by the change from Southern Coast distillers to Tin Shed and how that came about, and where Southern Coast came from. For those playing along at home, it was you picked up a lot of that equipment. Is that right from Southern Coast?
Anyone else not hearing?
No, I can hear him. I can hear you as well, Schmidt.
I couldn't hear a word he said.
Oh,
Well, look, I can say the question in about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've got Tin Shed Distillery. Prior to that, you had Southern Coast Distillery. Can you tell us a bit about Southern Coast and how you transferred it into Tin Shed?
Okay, Southern Coast Distillery was one I started with Vic and another friend called Tony Fitzgerald and our wives. And after a couple of years of part-time manufacturing, it became clear that Tony wasn't the ideal partner. So we invited him to sell his shares to us and disappear. He declined and got his nose out of joint, and it got quite ugly. We finished up going to court, and as a parting gift, we got rid of him, but as a parting gift, he applied under Section 461K of the Corporations Act, which you've probably never heard of, to have the company placed in the hands of liquidators. Apparently you can. When the directors of a company can't agree on what day of the week it is, you can go to the court and ask for a liquidator to be appointed to sort it out. But that was a bit of a disaster. It took us 6 years in court to get rid of the liquidator. And along the way, we just decided to start again. It was all too hard. So we started a new company called Tin Shed Distilling, and away we went.
Ta-da.
Ta-da.
thank you, Ian.
Did you hear that, Ian?
I just said thanks. That was all.
Ta-da. I heard ta-da.
All right. And the wonderful name Iniquity, where did that come from?
Okay. The hardest part of coming up with a new distillery or a new product is the name of the product. Because all the names
100%.
but all the names we thought of that were really cool were gone. Someone had taken them and trademarked them. And we're going through brainstorming sessions with myself and Vic and Jackie and Rose. Jackie's my wife and Rose is Vic's ex-wife, which is another interesting dynamic. And we were having trouble coming up with names. And then simultaneously, I can remember it now, we were turning around off Goodwood Road on the Green Hill Road, and the wife and I both said, Iniquity, almost at the same time.
Oh.
Iniquity means wicked, sinful, immoral, and unjust. And Scott, that's not referring to me. That's referring to the fact that alcohol is actually bad for you.
Oh, shit. I thought you were going to refer to your wife then.
Oh, no. Never say that.
He can be a bit thick sometimes, but he's not that dumb.
I'm not that stupid, no. But if you do some research, there's this many papers that tell you alcohol's going to kill you. And if you do keep searching, you find maybe this many papers that say it won't kill you very quickly. Something else might kill you first if you drink in moderation and live a good, clean, healthy life. And I did recently find a paper written in 1526 that described alcohol as being good for you, but that's probably not very current theory. So that's what's iniquitous, that's what's wicked, sinful, and unjust, that something so nice is so bad for you.
I love the name. I love it.
Good.
So the distillery is called Tin Shed. Iniquity is the single malt range. You guys do some other stuff. There's a vodka I've seen. There's a rum. Are they all going to take on different names and keep them?
Yep. The rum's called Requiem Rum, and we bring out different batches after shipwrecks. The vodka's called Piotr, after Vic's father, who was a Cossack. We will be bringing out a gin as soon as She Who Must Be Obeyed works out what the gin's going to be called, because that's her job, apparently. But yeah, different brand names for different products so they don't interfere with each other. And also, if we have a bit of a disaster with one, if we poison someone with our rum, then it doesn't infect the whole brand. And it also gives us the option of selling a brand off. If someone really likes our vodka and they want to buy it, well, they're welcome to. It makes it easier.
Yeah, I want to pick up just on another thing in Matt's question. Matt, can you just speak very quickly to see if Ian can get you there?
Ian, 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me?
Can't hear him.
This is brand new. I haven't had this one before.
No, this is an interesting one.
That's right. You're going to have to text me the questions, Matt, and I'll put them up on the screen because I can still do that, I think. And g'day to Dan Woolley listening in. But one of the questions Matt had was about taking some gear from Southern Coast to Tin Shed. And for those, and I've been lucky enough to try a fair bit of Southern Coast over the years, there's certainly a lot of similarities in the spirit. It's taken on a bit of a mythical status now, being a closed Australian distillery. How much of Southern Coast is in Tin Shed, and did you try and just replicate Southern Coast, or was there an attempt and a move to create something new when you moved on?
We didn't try to replicate anything. We just kept on making things the only way we knew how. So it's no surprise that the Tin Shed whiskey or the Iniquity tastes a bit like Southern Coast because we only know how to make whiskey one way. So that's what we did. We then bought a bigger still And the bigger still did introduce quite a change to the flavour of this new make spirit. It went from something that tasted a bit reminiscent of juicy fruit chewing gum to something that had quite a malty taste. And since it's a malt whiskey, we figured it probably should taste more like malt than chewing gum, so we persisted with the big still. We did take a lot of our equipment across. We bought it from the liquidator, or we bought it from the company before the liquidator got into it. We had some serious arguments in court over that, but we finished up with everything. Yeah, bless you. That's the story on the whiskey. Yeah.
Very cool.
Now,
Very cool. Oh, I've lost Scott too.
Must be the sneeze.
Oh, we've lost Scott.
Can anyone hear Scott?
Oh, that's a good first.
Wow. Well, have you muted yourself or something? Because we can't hear you now.
Was that another question from Scott?
I literally got a notification on my screen just then that said Scott has muted himself, like the host has muted himself or something. So just check your settings there. We literally can't hear you now. Ian can't hear me.
Can you hear Matt Bailey now?
No, I can hear you. And I can hear Andy.
Alex, Andy,
I can't
and
hear Matt.
Ian, you guys can just chat.
I now run the show.
I would never mute myself. You actually have muted yourself, Scotty. You actually have muted yourself.
I run the show. I run the show. This is wonderful.
Any more questions, or is that it?
There's so many more coming at you.
Look,
right. So
Alex,
tell me.
ask about the barley.
I can't hear.
Barley question I had. Anyway.
You can't hear me.
No.
He just said no, he can't hear you when you asked him that. Are you playing with us, Ian? What the hell's going on here?
Ian's amazing. All right. Matt said ask about the barley, but I want to ask about what are you running in your sheds
Andy,
with
can
your
you talk
stills?
to me?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear the other two?
So
We're losing one.
I can hear everyone else
This
except
is a
Scott.
shit fight.
Oh, now we've lost Ian. This is a tremendous stream.
Well, I guess this
Ladies
one's
and gentlemen,
going.
thank you so much for watching along. You know what? This is absolutely. I don't even know if anyone can hear me right now. But
I can't hear
I
you,
can.
Matt. What are you talking
I
about?
can. I can hear you.
And Scotty, I can't
You
hear
hear me,
Scotty
I
at
can
all.
hear you.
This is hilarious, guys.
I can hear everyone except Scott. This is gold.
Yeah.
You know what? Anyway.
So,
All right.
let's
Let's
be
all come-
professionals and, keep it back on track.
Well,
Ian, can you hear me or are you stuffing me around?
I think Ian. I'm presuming I'm the only one you can hear, Ian.
I can.
Oh.
You're the only one I can hear. Yeah.
Okay.
This
So if
is
anyone else can hear me,
unbelievable.
Who gave the show to Andy?
it was always my show. Let's be honest. It's taking it. I'm taking full ownership. I've muted everyone. Scott, I can't hear you. I can hear Matt and I can hear Alex. Ian can hear me only.
Yep.
Oh, this
How
is
about I log out and come back in?
I don't think it's your issue, but okay, sure. He can't hear me say that anyway, so it doesn't matter.
He can't. Yeah. Gold.
All right, guys. I think we're
Scott,
gonna leave the chat and we're gonna come back. So stay tuned with us very
just stay
shortly.
tuned. We're going to reset this stream. For anyone who can hear me, we're resetting the stream.
And I'll repeat in case anyone can only hear me that we're going to repeat this.